Hey everyone, it's Matt from Greatness Every Day, and in this video I'm going to teach you the 7 negative emotions that are outlined by Napoleon Hill in his book Think and Grow Rich. And I'm going to link that down in the video description below in case you want to check that out on your own time. But with this video, Napoleon Hill studied some of the most successful people for a very long time, and then he went ahead and he wrote about it. He learned some of the tips and tricks and things that successful people were doing and communicated that to the average person to be able to access. And one of those things that he talks about, one of the concepts he talks about, is the idea that positive and negative emotions exist all the time, and they can dominate either positively or negatively your mind and your life in general. So what he said is you have to figure out how to balance out, make sure that there's more positive and less negative emotions that are in your life. That's going to really affect your relationships, your creativity, life in general, business in particular. So what we're going to do here in this video is outline the 7 negative emotions that he's identified and talked about in his book so that you understand what they are and when you need to avoid them. So let's begin by looking at these 7 negative emotions. And with this, the first one is fear. And fear is defined by Merriam-Webster as an unpleasant, often strong emotion caused by anticipation or awareness of danger. And for many of us, fear is a story that we tell ourselves, and we kind of get stuck in that. And if we can get out of that, that's when it becomes very powerful. But a lot of people like to define fear as also false evidence appearing real. Things that are out of our control that we start to get anxious about, or we start to get upset about, or we start to worry about. And there's many things with that. So the very first one that we should talk about as a negative emotion is fear. All right. So in this example, I want you to think right now, where are the examples of fear that you are living in your life? I know for me, I have a lot of fear, and maybe have had a lot of fear because I've done a lot of work and put a lot of time in to being able to move past the fears that I have and understand, hey, things might not actually be as I'm anticipating. Things might not actually be as I see and I view them. I might be able to overcome a confidence issue, or I might be able to overcome a money issue, or I might be able to overcome whatever issue it is. A lot of the times, fear is something that goes ahead and paralyzes us and allows us to kind of get stuck in that trap that we're currently in, just continue going through the motions, whether we want to do something or not, and really stop us from taking action. So fear is a powerful negative emotion that's going to really affect our lives. The second one is jealousy, and jealousy is defined as being hostile toward a rival or one believed to enjoy an advantage. So with that, number 2, as I said, is jealousy. Okay, so jealousy, being hostile towards someone, thinking that they have an advantage, treating someone a little bit different because they might have something and you don't. And that advantage could be many different things. It could be a monetary advantage. It could be a relationship advantage. It could be an athletic, more health advantage that you perceive somebody as having and you don't have. So you're going to take it out and be jealous at that other person. So really with that, that's really going to cause a lot of issues because you're going to be focusing on someone else and something you can't control rather than yourself, which is ultimately the thing that you can control. So that is negative emotion number 2. Number 3 is the emotion of hatred. Okay, hatred. We're talking about an extreme dislike or disgust. So for number 3, hatred is a powerful emotion, and really one that if we're aware of the words that we say, we often use the words, I hate this, or I hate school, or I hate going to work, or I hate whatever. And really, the reality is we probably aren't actually in a place of extreme dislike or disgust, maybe temporarily because we have an assignment due or we've got something to do for work. But really, we should be careful of the words that we are using because a lot of the times the words that we are using really go forth and shape the reality that we currently live in, right? So fear jealousy, hatred being the third one, are all very powerful negative emotions. So we go into number 4, and we're talking about revenge. Revenge is to avenge oneself or on another's behalf, usually by retaliating in kind or degree. So with revenge, that should be added down as number 4. Basically, we feel that there is a reason that we need to get back at someone. There is something that happened, something that somebody said, something that somebody did, that we feel that we need to take revenge for ourselves, or maybe it's something that we witnessed a friend or family member go through, and we feel the best way to get back at that person is to retaliate towards them, because an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth type of concept with that, right? Revenge is a negative emotion that is really going to get you nowhere. So being aware of that is key. Number 5, as we go through the negative emotions, is greed. Greed is defined as a selfish and excessive desire for more of something. A lot of the times we're talking about money than is needed. So let's add that to the list. Number 5, we're talking about greed. So with that, when we're talking about greed, we're talking about focused in on myself. We're talking about a selfish desire. We're talking about an excessive desire. We have way more than we actually need. And a lot of the times people talk about money. Money is a very easy example for greed, because we can look all around our world. We can see it. We can see current issues happening now that are allowing people to take advantage of people in different situations and become greedy. And I have no problem with money. Money has been a big focus for me in the past few years, but all in a positive sense. And it's because I've really developed the mindset in order to do that. But with greed, we're talking about way more than we need. We're talking about that is our driving purpose. And money is a tool that allows us to do many amazing things in the world and in the lives that we live, but it shouldn't be the one focus that we have, because really ultimately we know that happiness and fulfillment and purpose isn't going to be coming before the money. That's where it needs to be. So if we're really putting it from a spot of greed, that's going to be coming after the money. And that's not a good place to be in. So that is number 5. Number 6 is superstition, which is a belief or practice resulting from the ignorance, the fear of the unknown, trust in magic or chance, or a false concept of causation. So number 6, we're going to add that to our list of superstition. So a negative emotion, basically believing that something is just going to happen and it's going to happen because, right? Because maybe we're ignorant, maybe it's something we believe kind of in just the chance, or it's kind of meant to be. All of these other things, superstitions are a negative emotion that we can get stuck in very often. And the reason that we get stuck in them is, and that it's negative, I should say, is because it holds us back from taking action. It holds us from identifying what we truly want and how to take action and really committing to the process in order to go ahead and get that. So superstition is a negative emotion, and we have all sorts of superstitions. Some of them are funny. For example, sports. Sports are great examples of people being superstitious. Maybe football players not washing their jersey until they lose a game. Maybe hockey players lacing up their skates a certain way. Whatever, superstition relates in sports, it relates in life, and many other areas. So if we can move away from that superstitious mindset, we're going to be able to open up our mind and our lives in more of a purposeful, actionable place as well. So that is number 6. Number 7 is anger. A strong feeling of displeasure is what the definition of that is. So we'll add that in. Number 7, we're talking about anger, a strong feeling of displeasure. And that is really something that we probably, out of all of these things, we probably face maybe more commonly on a day-to-day basis. And out of those negative emotions, at least in my opinion, I look at fear. Yeah, it plays a role for sure. in kind of like the usual stories we tell ourselves. Things like jealousy, hatred, revenge, superstition, greed, those aren't really coming up in my life in the day-to-day. And I believe that's partly because of how I was raised, partly because of the environment that I'm in now, and also partly because of the work that I've put in and the structures that I have in place that really kind of put myself in a good spot each and every day. So anger is kind of the one that I focus on the most as affecting me in what I do on a day-to-day motion. And with anger, we're basically not happy with something, so we become the opposite, which is angry at those things. So that could be at a person, that could be at an employer, that could be at just life in general, that could be at a higher being like God. Things like that really kind of put us in a place where we can choose to focus on anger rather than something else. So these are the 7 negative emotions that Napoleon Hill outlines in his book, Think and Grow Rich. If you have any questions, go ahead and let me know down below. Please hit the thumbs up button. This gets this video out to more people, and we're also going to go ahead in a follow-up video figure out what the positive emotions are and how we can really use those to focus in on what matters with our lives. So I hope that you like this video. Go ahead and click the subscribe button, follow our channel for more great content related to living your best life through personal development, health, and wealth. You can also visit our website and check us out on Instagram. Just want to say thank you for watching. Remember, choose greatness every day, and I'll see you next time.